Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 2P Press Start, and this video is going to be a little bit of a change of pace. This is some gameplay. What you're watching is me running my priest deck in my very first ranked game in Season 3. But in this video, I won't be talking about the gameplay itself. Instead, in this video, I'm going to be answering some of the questions we've received over the past few weeks. These are questions we've received by email, or on Facebook, or on YouTube private messages, or other messages on various forums, or whatever. Basically, any place else that we get questions that we don't answer publicly. And while I probably won't answer every single question I get in video form, these are ones I've picked because they're either questions I get a lot, or because they're asking for information that more people than just the one who asked the question might find interesting. So, without further ado, let's start answering some questions. Time for question number one. Question number one comes from Andrew B. This was an email we got. Andrew B. writes, I love your top fives. I watch them every week. They're my favorite thing on your channel by far, and I wish you'd make more of them. Where do you get all the videos you use? I'm surprised you can find this much good stuff out there when there's no replay feature or anything like that. Keep up the good work. Keep the videos coming. Well, I'm not going to lie. I chose to start off with this one because of all the flattery you put in there. Let that be a lesson to you. If you want to get your question answered in a video, pack it full of compliments. Thank you so much, Andrew, for all the nice things that you said. Turns out my vanity knows no bounds, and so you get your question answered first. Well, where do I get the videos that we use for the top 5 series? Well, some of them I find myself. I tend to run across a lot of great stuff just because I watch a ton of Hearthstone. Pretty much whenever I can, I've got a Hearthstone video going either on Twitch or YouTube or whatever. Even if I'm doing other things, sometimes even if I'm playing other games. So that's one big source of the plays that I find is just me watching people play Hearthstone. Then a lot of the videos are submitted by our viewers. We get a bunch of submissions every week. We request submissions every week, and our audience never fails to supply us with a bunch of great videos. I really appreciate that, of course, because a lot of these clips that people submit are clips that I never would have found on my own, especially the ones from the foreign servers or channels I don't watch too often, people's streams that I didn't know about before. It's just fantastic to get all these submissions. Lately, I've been getting a lot of people submitting their own clips that they've recorded and uploaded, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. So thank you to everyone for submitting these plays because it makes our show better. And thanks again to Andrew B. for your question, and thanks for all the nice things you said. Alright, moving on to question number 2. This one's from Grinning Shaco. Grinning Shaco writes, Hi GK, I've been watching your top 5 plays series since the beginning, and I wanted to ask you how you pick the plays you're going to use and how you rank/order them. I really like a lot of the plays you pick, but then sometimes some of them just don't seem like they take any skill at all. I'd like to see more good plays and less RNG/top decking. Well, that's a great question, and it's one that I've been asked in various forms, and not always this nicely, a bunch of times since I started the series. First of all, I think they're all great plays. The answer to your question is that skill involved is only one of the criteria I use to pick and rank the plays. There are a lot of ways a play or video can impress me as deserving a spot in the top 5 for a week. Clever use of mechanics is a big factor, especially if it involves cards or mechanics that aren't used very often. A great example of that is Eye for an Eye. I hardly ever see this card used in high-level competitive decks. It's by no means a Flavor of the Month card or anything like that, and we feature a few plays now where people have come up with real creative ways to trigger their own Eye for an Eye to deal damage to their opponent. And I think that's fantastic. I'm always really entertained by clever use of Eye for an Eye and other mechanics like that. Another factor that weighs heavily is the clutch factor, I guess, quote-unquote clutch factor. Clutch factor is a short way of saying, is this play going to be the deciding moment in the game? I'm talking about, like, epic comebacks, you know, turnarounds, where does the game turn around? And then, of course, do-or-die victories, where the player is dead if he or she doesn't come up with a way to win right now. These are generally the type of plays that I find the most entertaining. For that matter, and kind of along that same vein, what's riding on the game? Is this play going to break the player into a legendary rank? Is this the last game of an 11-2 arena run? Is this the final game in a tournament setting or anything like that? I think that adds a little bit of entertainment value to a play. Then there's that 1 in a million factor. If a play involves RNG, which would include top decking, I guess, then how remote is the chance of what happened going to happen? I guess there are other factors too based on, you know, what's going on in the metagame at the moment. Like, does this play involve a new counter to a popular deck, or a card that just got changed, or a card that just got nerfed? Also, in some cases, even the player's reaction on cam plays a role in determining the entertainment value of a play. Basically, I add all of that crap up in my head, trim down the list of candidates for that week's show down to a list of finalists, and then rank those in order according to how entertaining I think they are. So You know, whether something involves a lot of skill or some RNG or something like that, all of that kind of goes into it, and no one of those factors is completely decisive. It's, of course, a completely subjective process, and hopefully you agree with more of my choices than you disagree with. Of course, I'm always open to feedback on the evaluation process and the plays I pick. I invite absolutely everyone to leave comments on the top 5 videos and tell me how you would have ordered the plays. If you would have put them in a different order, tell me how you would have ordered them and why. So thanks very much for your question, Grinning Shaco, and hopefully that sheds a bit of light on how the top 5 plays get picked. All right, moving on to our last question of the show. Okay, this one comes from Karn the Betrayer, and Karn the Betrayer writes, "Hey Giant Killer, I read your website a lot. I'd like to see you update it more. But on there you say you're the source for co-op and PvP gaming, but all I really see is Hearthstone content, especially on your YouTube channel. Do you play any other games, or have plans to put up anything for other games in the future? I really like your stuff. I'd just like to see more than just Hearthstone all the time." Well, first of all, it's always nice to hear from a fellow Warhammer 40k fan, Karn. Thanks very much for the nice things you said. The short answer to your question is yes, I absolutely play other games besides Hearthstone, and I'm definitely planning to branch out into other games in the very near future. Fortunately, or unfortunately, as the case may be, I'm just really obsessed with Hearthstone at the moment. It's a great game. I'm a big fan of Blizzard games and the Warcraft franchise in general. I've also been a fan of trading card games for about 20 years now, and this game's scratching that TCG itch for me in a big way. So at least for the time being, Hearthstone is likely to be the bulk of my content, but I'll absolutely try to put together some videos for some other games. Lately I've been playing some Duels of the Planeswalkers on Steam. I've been loving Banner Saga ever since I picked that up, and I'm getting inexplicably addicted to Marvel Puzzle Quest of all things. So I may try to do something from one or all of those games in the near future. Also, please let me know if there's a game in particular you'd like to see. Be sure and leave me a comment down below and let me know what other games besides Hearthstone you'd be interested in seeing or reading about. Well, that about does it for the first ever 2P Press Start question and answer session. Hopefully somebody got some useful insight out of that, and if not, hopefully at least you didn't mind listening to me prattle on about things while you watch the game. Speaking of the game, I've really been enjoying this Priest deck a lot lately, and so as usual I'll include the Priest deck list in the description if anybody's interested in that. If you enjoyed the Q&A format, or if you've got any questions you'd like to have answered, there's lots of ways you can get them to us. You can email them to me at giantkiller2p@gmail.com, or you can send me a private message on Facebook or on Reddit or on any of the forums where I post about my top 5 plays series. If you'd like to ask a question anonymously, or if you'd prefer not to have your question answered in a video, please let me know in your message. Otherwise, it's going to be fair game for future Q&A videos. If you'd like to see more from 2P Press Start, please be sure and click like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Thank you so much for watching, everybody.